I am Kesten Rono, and you are here again for day 47 of our exploration of A Course in Miracles. Thank you for being here. Yesterday, we were announcing that God is the love in which we forgive. And I hope you tried on forgiveness. Maybe you found it challenging to discover in your mind there were people or ideas, even people not present, maybe people you haven't met but have influence over your life in some capacity, or you find them on the news. Maybe there were some forgivenesses that seemed big to forgive fully, but I hope you forgave. Anyone driving with my partner, we forgave someone who cut us off. It was an easy forgiveness. We wouldn't see them again, but we could still let it go. And we admitted that mm, we would still hold the door open for them if we saw them again. Of course, we forgive them. And we forgave ourselves, our family, people we love. Were you able to feel the potential, at least, of forgiveness? I don't think yesterday's exercise was imagining that we know how to forgive well, that we are not holding on to any leftover lack of forgiveness, any kind of upsets with individual people, or that we may be superficially forgiving but mean it more than we were kids when we say we're sorry. I suppose I'm announcing that forgiveness is a bigger idea than I expected. To do it wholly, fully, to offer someone the fullness of forgiveness may feel like a big deal, but we are reminded that forgiveness is this tool of time and space where we find ourselves. It is the tool of miracles. And there is no miracle that is bigger or harder than another. And forgiveness is something that grants us something back. It seems like we might lose something, but what will we lose? We will lose our justification we imagined for screaming from the rooftops that we are valid for being upset. And naturally, other people are going to assume that we are valid. They will help validate us for being upset. It's rightfully so how this person has wronged you. They were definitely wrong. Why do we have such an allegiance to that which does not serve us? Simply because we believe that someone else did it to us, and maybe they did. So why do we keep granting this past idea and the upsets from that control over us, knowingly or unknowingly, as we move forward in our lives? Have you ever found that you are sensitive to some welling of feelings under certain circumstances? Or have you ever found that you have tension in some parts of your body that is sudden? You didn't know where it came from, or maybe it's chronic and you don't know where it comes from. Have you tried to reason? Oh, it's because this muscle is tight because of this thing that I'm doing that's causing me pain to have in this area of my body also, which is giving me headaches, which is causing me anxiousness or anger. What if? What if? A lot of this is a manifestation, so to speak, of other ways that we are ratcheting down on control within ourselves, afraid to express something or to realize that we have been hurt or to let it go, as if we are granting someone else some kind of power, and sacrificing something about ourselves if we admit that it's okay to let something go. And more than let it go, but to forgive whoever has trespassed against us. Perhaps you are able to try on an idea that what you are experiencing physically or emotionally within yourself is the effect of some cause, some idea of some thought that you are continuing to hold on to, even if you do not know what it is, that is causing you to feel tighter and express that in your everyday life, and seemingly guarding us further from discovering more of ourselves and making it more sensitive when we get close to it. I've experienced versions of these. I had to learn to use my voice to see more of this and to move into some other way of seeing and thinking to feel more ease. And I forgive myself for doing it however I had been doing it and however I'm doing it now. Still learning. And so today, let's learn. Principle 47. Convenient. The miracle is a learning device. The miracle is a learning device that lessens the need for time. It establishes an out of pattern time interval, not under the usual laws of time. In this sense, it is timeless. Okay, let's digest this. The miracle is a learning device. That's interesting. We learned that miracles were teaching devices. Where is this? Miracles, day 16. Miracles are teaching devices for demonstrating it is as blessed to give as it is to receive. They simultaneously increase the strength of the giver and supply strength to the receiver. They are teaching devices to illustrate to us that we gain something, strength, a blessing, by giving something. And now we learn that miracles are learning devices. They are teaching devices. They are learning devices. They have many hats. When you have been exploring some of these principles through this book, were you giving shape to a miracle? Like, aha, okay, that's the definition of a miracle. But it just kept expanding. It's a learning device and a teaching device. I suppose because it is teaching us that it is a blessing to give and receive, we must also be learning, must also be receiving. I guess teaching and learning are not too far apart. We are being taught. The miracle is a learning device that lessens the need for time. So something about miracles helps us understand that we have less of a need for time. How could that be true? I suppose in a meditation state, we can discover some timelessness. And if this is an identification from our spiritual plane, our spiritual lens, whatever it is that is part of our imagination, our consciousness, whatever that is, wherever that is, wherever it goes, if it goes anywhere when someone dies, I suppose from there, from this lens, when we assume it, when we affirm this lens, that we may see more timelessness. And if miracles are part of the teaching devices, the learning devices that exist on the realm of time and space in our bodies, that we may notice them and be asked to look beyond the spectacle, that we may notice them and be asked not to gain conscious control of them, that they may reveal something greater than we have assumed we noticed in them, that they are deeper than we imagined. And yet, as we dive deeper into them, they become less necessary. We learned yesterday that miracles, once we have this revelation, connecting in communication with God, that miracles are no longer required. That they're part of this body experience, this waking up from the ego's perspective to one of truth in God. And somehow, this learning device lessens the need for time. It establishes an out of pattern time interval. Out of pattern. We've been reminded in this book that miracles reverse the laws of this earth, of physics. Again, day 16 was saying that it is a blessing to give and to receive, a teaching device, a learning device. That somehow when we give, we receive. We know that that is not true. If I give someone $1, I don't have $1. But, I mean, maybe there are other things worth holding than dollars. However, if I give someone love, I receive love. If I give someone forgiveness, I receive forgiveness. It is a blessing to give and receive. It is strengthening. And true vision has no sacrifice of anybody. It only blesses. So moving closer to true vision is a blessing. We are receiving a blessing. We have something now that we may give, and we may receive more blessings the more that we give away. The secret, quote unquote, to true vision, to aligning with the Holy Spirit and seeing our own illusions for what they are, and allowing us to forgive ourselves, forgive others, and set them aside, removing the need for energy to be applied to that particular system and freeing it up, so to speak, to be applied to something more truthful, some lens that can easily see that how we have been living before was an illusion, was false. So we are here to be blessed in recognizing that miracles may be revealing some pattern different than what we're used to, an out of pattern time interval. Would that be so weird? We call a miracle because it's a miracle. We don't have an explanation for it. We must therefore expect that it has some out of pattern idea associated with it. Otherwise, it would be occurring all the time. We'd have an explanation for it, we would assume, and it wouldn't be a miracle. That's not a miracle, man. That happens like this for this reason. It establishes an out of pattern time interval not under the usual laws of time. In this sense, it is timeless. The closest I am able to relate to this, to reiterate, is an idea discovered through meditation, sinking deeper into somewhere in my mind, discovering a place of timelessness. Why is it timelessness? Because I don't know how long I'm in the meditation, perhaps. And there's no concept of time until I start thinking again. It seems like infinite space, an infinite time, or timelessness. It's removed. I'm reminded from this text that learning is complete at the end of time. That time is a very valuable tool, allowing possibly for the opportunity of learning to occur. Learning occurring in the most true sense through the process of miracles, discovering that we are the miracle. I don't know what end of time means, but if that is a representation of when the learning is complete, well, in this world of time and space, it seems like the more we look anywhere, the more we discover. If we get better and better microscopes, we discover more and more things. If we get better and better telescopes, we discover more and more things. And the more that we discover, the more questions we can form, theories that we can test, which results in new findings, which is even more questions. It becomes infinite. How could we ever be done learning in a situation like that? I'm not sure. But I imagine here receiving this hint that miracles are related to timelessness, establishing an out of pattern time interval not under the usual laws of time, lessening the need for time, that this is something specific of the miracle. It seems that maybe the end of time, when the learning is complete, could be, as an idea to consider, could be whenever we have this revelation to being in a original communication form with God from the perspective of our minds. That from here, we are simply on a path now to knowledge, recognizing truth and illusion, and seeing it from a whole new lens, perhaps closer to our imagination that could help us understand how this, what we are experiencing, is part of our imagination and creation. That seems implausible from here, but it seems possible from the idea of a spiritual lens. So perhaps the end of time is simply when we wake up to a more truthful idea that seems infinitely far away, impossible, unjustifiable, and blasphemous. That's just not how the world works, right? We don't call that real life. So it would have to be something that is a out of pattern idea for us to be able to see an out of pattern system perspective. To perceive differently, we would have to perceive differently. Nonetheless, it's an interesting idea that the miracle is an anchoring to whatever you and I are experiencing here physically. And it is no longer necessary as we step into our minds and recognize our holiness and direct communication with God, that all of our thoughts that we have ever had are still existing in their source, and our source is God. And the source of miracles is love. And God is love. That everything we have ever thought is existing in some unconditional, holy, changeless love. Totally accepted. As we can move closer to this idea, we may be separating ourselves from the physical laws that we experience because we must be moving closer to God in a spiritual projection or direction. At least I imagine. So may we accept an idea of timelessness. May we believe that it is there. May we believe that there really is an end to learning, although maybe we crave learning at that point, but maybe we don't, because that could be an illusion too. The idea that we must figure out something else, maybe that is just not necessary. I think we're working too hard. So one step at a time, but may you find peace in some of the reflections of these exercises, and may you be able to sink deeply in love and forgiveness and in mind. May you be able to find God's light or some idea of timelessness, warping yourself from the beginning of a meditation to the end of one just barely. What happened? May you know bliss in this period, possibly. And may we accept that there is another way of understanding the idea of time, and there might be something beyond time that has no threat to the way that we are or anyone else is experiencing here in time and space. That if we are here experiencing in time and space and we are reforming our perception, discovering a new perspective from a whole new lens, doing it through this book, trying on these lessons, disappearing in timelessness briefly, also aware of time here and how much time might be passing in me reflecting and sharing with you. So I'm just going to leave those thoughts there. Let's move on to lesson 47. God is the strength in which I trust. More declarations of what God is and how we are related to God. Let's continue reviewing these. Lesson 40. I am blessed as a son of God. Lesson 41. God goes with me wherever I go. Lesson 42. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. Here, an allusion to strength again. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. Lesson 43. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. We are always connected to God. He is our source. We are miracles. The source of miracles is love. God is love. God is the light in which I see, that we cannot create light. We are instilled with light by divine right of creation of God. 45. God is the mind with which I think, that our minds are connected. 46. God is the love in which I forgive, including forgiving ourselves, undoing. And now today, God is the strength in which I trust. If you are trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. Have you ever felt apprehensive, anxious, or fearful? What if you could see things from the perspective of knowledge? And there was no reason to be apprehensive or fearful. Why be anxious when you know what's coming? What can you predict or control? What is there in you that you can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? What is it in you that allows you to have this idea? Of yourself, you can do none of these things. To believe that you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. So let's repeat that. To believe that you can do any of the things that we just discussed, for example, having the recognition of a right solution or the guarantee that it will happen. To believe that you can do those things is to put your trust where it is unwarranted and to justify fear, anger, anxiety, depression, and sorrow. Essentially, I'm hearing in here to invest in an illusion that we think we know best without the purview of all of time, to invest in that illusion with our savings, our life savings, our value, to try to add more value to that illusion will only return us that illusion. We are investing. We are trusting in some system that will simply return us more upsets and attacks. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? Yeah, how could we feel safe if we invest in weakness? And how could you put your faith in strength and feel weaker? God is your safety in every circumstance. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what you need to do to call upon his strength and his protection. Okay, I'm reminded that somewhere in the previous weeks, we were being told that God will speak to us very directly, and we have simply been speaking over his voice. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations. So, in everything, in every aspect of everything, so truly everything, his voice speaks for him, telling you exactly what to do to call upon his strength and his protection. His strength and his protection, perfect peace, perfect safety, freedom from worry, the blessing of strength. There are no exceptions because God has no exceptions. And the voice, capital V, and the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. Okay, God has thoughts, and his voice speaks on behalf of these thoughts, which is very interesting because we have just been exploring an idea how our thoughts are God's thoughts and God's thoughts are ours. And here, the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. The voice thinks as he does. And as God thinks, we are told that is how we think. And how we think is how God thinks. And I suppose we would have to recognize that we are of God, holy and perfect, in order to understand that we can think or share thoughts with God. I suppose that means that we are somehow connected to his voice innately. And perhaps that is how we can hear it speak to us very directly, as it is simply aligned with us as we are God's mind. We are connected to God's mind. Today we will try to reach past your own weakness to the source of real strength. Remembering God is the strength in which I trust. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. And now, today we will try to reach past your own weakness to the source, capital S, of real strength. God is my source. And today, God is the strength in which I trust. 4, bumping it up, 4 5-minute practice periods are necessary today. And longer and more frequent ones are urged. Whoa. As if we will gain strength by working out, working in our minds. Close your eyes and begin as usual by repeating the idea for today. Please, if you may, close your eyes and repeat after me. God is the strength in which I trust. God is the strength in which I trust. God is the strength in which I trust. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have invested with fear, dismissing each one by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. I have invested in fear about the future, yet God is the strength in which I trust. Now try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. Wow, concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. Have you ever had imposter syndrome? Have you ever believed that you are not worthy? of a job, of a relationship, of some provision, of creativity, of expression, a family member's love. Now, try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy, for otherwise you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. Very interesting. Anytime that you can highlight or you recognize that you feel concern, we may assume, therefore, we feel inadequate. Why? Because if we were adequate, worthy, capable, we believe that we would be able to handle the situation, even if it was new, I suppose. So, to your adequacy. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence, but the strength of God in you is successful in all things. Okay, so if we are trusting ourselves, I suppose we are investing our life savings, in an illusion, something that will net us nothing. We think it might be positive. However, the strength of God in you, the strength of God in you is successful in all things. We have something to lean on. Perhaps we release our timing and expectation of how we would handle it, giving it our best. But if we can turn ourselves over to an idea that we are naturally and wholly and holily strengthened by God, and God has the purview, the realm of knowledge, the end of time, the order of all levels, then with God's strength, if we are able to connect with God and listen very specifically to what He directs us from this lens, we are always successful, successful in all things. The recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but is hardly a sufficient one in giving you the confidence which you need and to which you are entitled. You must also gain an awareness that confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every aspect and in all circumstances. So we have a real strength. This is through our connection with God. And this is justified for everything, for every aspect of anything. Justified in every respect in all circumstances. That covers everything. We must recognize our own frailty, our association with the ego, that we are fragile without love, using fear as our tool, illusions as our tool, investing ourselves in them, denying them forgiveness, and therefore binding ourselves to those illusions. But frailty, or recognizing our frailty, is hardly a sufficient step to give us the confidence which we need and to which we are entitled. We have a sense of strength that God has given us. We are entitled to it. It is our right, so to speak. And it goes beyond just seeing that we are frail. In the latter phase of the practice period, try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Perfect peace, deep peace, no matter how brief. This would be a place of real safety within us, perfect safety, creating perfect peace, bliss. Let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is below us, within us, down deep within us. Where is it? Beyond all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface, everything that we're experiencing that is not the truth, that does not give us a deep sense of peace, a sense of deep peace and safety. If we are not feeling that, then we are not reflecting deep enough within ourselves, and we are still getting caught up in illusion. Isn't it exciting that the kingdom of heaven is within you? The kingdom of heaven is within you. What could that possibly mean? There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible because you are strengthened by God. It is something to which you are entitled by the fact that you exist. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. During the day, repeat the idea often. Use it as your answer to any disturbance. If I find any disturbance, anything about which I am concerned, I will say, God is the strength in which I trust. Remember that peace is your right. What you want is yours. It's already there. It already is. Peace is your right because you are giving your trust to the strength of God. Okay. 4 5-minute practice periods and longer, frequent ones if we have it in us. And we can remember closing our eyes and repeating, God is the strength in which I trust. And then we spend a couple minutes searching for anything in our lives in which we have invested with fear. And if we discover one, we will simply notice it, bring it to attention, and say, God is the strength in which I trust, related to that particular idea. Then we'll try to slip down deeply within ourselves, past any concern of our own inadequacy. Remember, inadequacy can be found in any situation that provides us concern. If we are discovering concern, it is likely we feel inadequate, even if that doesn't feel obvious to us, because if we were adequate, if we believed we were adequate, we believed that we would be able to find a way to be successful. God is always successful. He has the purview that would allow him to see anything coming. That is true strength from the realm of knowledge. The strength of God in you is successful in all things. God is the strength in which I trust. God is the strength in which I trust. You will say, God is the strength in which I trust with your eyes closed. You will spend 1 to 2 minutes discovering anything that can come to mind where you have invested in fear, and you will say to it, God is the strength in which I trust. You will allow yourself to slip past all of the superficial ideas you can imagine on a quest to wake up to the kingdom of heaven. We will know we are there if we feel, no matter how briefly, a sense of deep peace. We are safe in the strength of God. We want to reach down below all trivial ideas, all illusions, whatever is occupying our mind. We want to let it go, find timelessness in our meditation, find somewhere deep, breaking the laws of how we typically see and accept the world around us. If we can find peace, we know that we will be at the kingdom of heaven. Let's also apply this anytime we feel disturbed. We will say, God is the strength in which I trust. If we are concerned or inadequate, feeling that we are unworthy, God is the strength in which I trust. Let us remember, there is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. I am Kesten Rono, and you are worthy, powerful, abundant, and complete. Please profess your strength through connection with God. And I'll see you here tomorrow for day 48 of A Course in Miracles.